Well, ladies and gentlemen, Caden Fry once said, "In heaven there is no beer." And today, last night, the Iowa Hawkeyes just ripped off the face mask of the Wisconsin Badgers as they kept the Heartland Trophy in Iowa City for the third consecutive year. And the Iowa Hawkeyes officially own the Wisconsin Badgers again. For the fourth time in the last five matchups, the University of Iowa has won against the Wisconsin Badgers, and that is huge, huge. Since 2020, Iowa won in 20, Wisconsin won in 21, Iowa's won in 22, 23, and 24. So Iowa 4 out of the last 5. Overall, since 2015, Iowa has won 5 out of the last 10 games in the series. So Iowa has split the series. I remember from 2016, even like 2019, 21, this was a game that Iowa would just always lose, and you would circle Wisconsin on your schedule as a loss, but not anymore. We have a lot to break down. We're going to break down this whole game between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Wisconsin Badgers starting right now. After a missed field goal, the Iowa Hawkeyes drive down the field, and Brendan Sullivan, how about a QB sneak on the third drive of the game, pushing through the pile for yet another quarterback sneak, his third on the year for Brendan, and this got the Hawkeyes going after that interception. Hawkeyes take the lead 7-3 here in the early moments of this game, and again, just look at this. First drive, Iowa punts it. Second drive, they miss a field goal, then they get an interception by Deshaun Lee, and look at Brendan Sullivan, just so easy. Look at this offensive line, has Hayden Large in motion, bullies his way into the end zone for the first touchdown of the ball game for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Handing it off here to Caleb Johnson on the next offensive drive, and he runs it in. And listen to Noah Eagle saying, "Game over already," after Iowa scores the second touchdown. Again, just what a beautiful run by Caleb Johnson. That was his 17th rushing touchdown of the season. Sorry, I had to do math. The first one of the day for him. And again, just look at this run here. Look at this block here for the offensive line. This Iowa offensive line, so veteran. And one thing that you did not see with Cade McNamara was the way that Sullivan is elusive and can hand off the ball perfectly. And Caleb Johnson, just a wide open hole walk in here. Here we go late in the second quarter. Sullivan late in the third, Sullivan gonna hand it off. Touchdown Iowa again. And that one was a beauty of a play by Caleb Johnson to get his second of the day and his 18th rushing touchdown of the season.
This guy knows how to find the end zone, doesn't he? He may have been down before he gets there, knee down, but the ball across the plane, that's a touchdown.
There's not enough. Even remotely enough to overturn that.
Alrighty, so after that Caleb Johnson touchdown, how about Braden Locke on 3rd and 5? Nick Jackson tips it, kicks it, and it's intercepted by Nick Jackson, and he takes it down to the 12-yard line. Last week, we saw the pinball interception by Jay Higgins, and how about back-to-back weeks with amazing interceptions by that Iowa defense, and this Iowa defense has continued to just pick off teams over and over and over again. Leading up into it, how about Brendan Sullivan finding Jacob Gill in the end zone? What makes a big lead better than having at least a passing touchdown? This Iowa team has struggled with passing touchdowns, and Brendan Sullivan finding his second passing touchdown of the season. It was a nice pass to Jacob Gill, and Iowa really starting to roll here. And look again, Jacob Gill just going to motion. Caleb Johnson in the backfield. Wisconsin thinking they're going to hand it off. Fakes the handoff, rolls out. Johnson rolls out. And Gill, how do you continue to do that? The Hawkeyes are just rolling at this point. And look at this, the touchdown counter up to 4. Iowa, they had 4 touchdowns in their game against Washington. They had 4 touchdowns in their game against Minnesota. They had 4 touchdowns at least last week. They actually had 5. And how about 4 already? And we're still in the third quarter. Nick Jackson with that pinball interception, and Brendan Sullivan finding Jacob Gill for his second touchdown, and Gill's second touchdown of the season passing-wise. All right, now Wisconsin on offensive ball, and the only really Wisconsin-y part of this game here is a 4th and 4. Wisconsin got a nice drive going. Game's basically over, 14-20 to go in the 4th. And how about Braden Locke finding his receiver here on a 4th down and 4? Jamari Harris just kind of broke coverage there. It didn't really affect the game. You know, if you really wanted Iowa to only allow Wisconsin to have 3 points, even only allowing them to have 10 points is still really nice. But give Braden Locke some credit, 14-yard reception to C.J. Williams.
Watch this route. Watch Williams right here take Harris all the way in the end zone and then turn him completely around. And once he turned his head like that, he was beat. And Locke is able to find him and deliver the football. A much-needed touchdown on a 4th down play. Well done by the Wisconsin Badgers.
Iowa once again driving. Brendan Sullivan almost got a touchdown, but he hands it off to KJ2 for another 3-game touchdowns for KJ2, and he ties the Iowa all-time record for most points in a season because of that passing touchdown from McNamara earlier. His 20th overall touchdown, his 19th rushing of the year. And how about that KJ2 touchdown counter going up to 19? And how about Iowa going up that touchdown counter to 5 total touchdowns? And once again, just look at this beautiful blocking by the Iowa Hawkeyes to get KJ2 in for his 3rd rushing touchdown of the day. And Drew Stevens sticking the extra point. I wanted to give Drew a little love there. And here we go late in the 4th. Iowa, Kirk Ferentz doesn't like to run up the score, but I wanted Iowa to crack the 40 mark. I was begging for them to get in. And how about Jacuzzi Patterson getting his payback? And he gets in for the 5th rushing touchdown, and Iowa 6 touchdowns in a game. Ladies and gentlemen, they have now scored 4 games with 40+. They've had 6 games with 30+ points. And look at this, baby. Iowa has also had 5 games with 20+ if you like to. They have 7 games, with 20+ if you like to count that. So the Iowa Hawkeyes looking at this again. Great blocking. Jacuzzi Patterson gets into the end zone, and Iowa wins it 42-10. What a good game. And in the final moments, Wisconsin hands it off, and Iowa is going to move to 6-3, become bowl eligible for the 13th consecutive season. So what impact did this win really have on the Iowa Hawkeyes with their college football playoff hopes basically gone? The Hawkeyes moved to 6-3, 4-2 in the Big Ten, and they now have scored 277 points per game. So you remember Brian's drive for 325. Iowa averaging about 31 points per game. That's 45th in the country, and only allowing about 18 points per game. That's 18th out of the 34 teams in the country. But if we do a little bit of math, ladies and gentlemen, with 3 games left to go in the season, Iowa should score approximately 90 more points. That would leave the Hawkeyes at 367 points scored this year, which would be way over Brian's drive for 325, even in a 12-game season. So looking at that for the Iowa Hawkeyes, overall, very, very, very good so far. Obviously, we talk about some of those early losses in the season hurt us, but later on, looking at the Iowa record, still looks pretty good. They could be ranked next week after a win at UCLA. Don't expect them to make the poll this week, though. Now looking at the Big Ten standings, Iowa currently looking at how about 5th right now, and the Iowa Hawkeyes up there with the 13th best team, the 1st best team in college football, the 4th and the 3rd. Obviously, Penn State might drop this week, but Iowa is up there in the Big Ten standings right now at 5th. I would love it if Iowa could be 4th by the end of the season if they went out, but looking pretty good right now at 4-2 in the Big Ten. Well, I hope you enjoyed the recap. The Iowa Hawkeyes defeat the Wisconsin Badgers 42-10, and Iowa has finally controlled the Heartland Trophy. It is a great day to be an Iowa Hawkeye. We will have a UCLA game preview, and Iowa plays Friday night on Fox at 7 p.m. Mountain Time Zone, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So super excited for that. If you enjoyed this first recap, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and check out our weekly Niwot Newbies podcasts airing on Tuesday, and hopefully we have a great NFL day. Maybe the Broncos win, maybe a Broncos recap coming up. But as always, go Hawkeyes. In heaven, there is